This is Scott Fain with the Youngstown Lifestyle Podcast, where I take the time to learn a little bit about the people and opportunities in the Youngstown, Ohio community. Today my conversation is with Ryan Cuffle. He's with Top Flight Financial Incorporated, a mortgage lender who, among other things, specializes in FHA 203K loans. That's the loan from FHA where you're able to rehab and renovate your property as long as you're a person who's living in the property. So without further ado, let's start the show.
Good afternoon. This is Scott Fain with Youngstown Lifestyle Podcast, and I'm talking today with Ryan Cuffle from Top Flight Financial Incorporated. Good afternoon, Ryan. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I am doing very well. One of the reasons that I was interested in talking with you, actually excited to talk to you today, is my partner Matthew. He had done some prospecting, and you guys connected. And once he had spoken to you, he couldn't stop telling me about how much information and you gave about the FHA 203K program. And that's one of the things that we had been talking about for a while, but we didn't have anyone that was as familiar with the program that in this market. And I wanted to get this opportunity just to talk to you a little bit and let you go into it, since this is something that is right in your wheelhouse as far as information that you have, and you do a lot of these deals, I understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, if you can just give us a little bit of an overview of the 203K program and the eligibility requirements, that'd be a great place to start off at.
Okay. Well, an FHA 203K loan is for any house that is not necessarily a foreclosure, but maybe just an ugly house. So it could be any house that you would like to change the appearance of or change a condition. You like the neighborhood of a house, but maybe you don't like that it's only a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, or you would like to have a larger kitchen and not a living room. It enables anybody buying the house to finance the cost of the purchase of the house and the cost of the renovation through a single mortgage. It allows for major rehab, structural repairs if needed. There's also where you can 2 types of loans. So there's one where you can do under $35,000 in repairs and one that you can do over $35,000 in repairs.
So under 35 and over 35. What are the differences? Like, how do I know which one I'm qualified for?
So how we qualify someone is based on their total available line of credit. In other words, let's say somebody is able to have a $1,300 a month monthly payment. So we qualify someone based on what their total loan amount. Let's just, for example, say that's $130,000. If they find a house for $100,000, then they have the availability to borrow or finance in an additional $30,000 in repairs. If they buy it for $30,000, then we can finance in $100,000 in repairs. So how you can tell the difference is if it's over $30,000 in repairs or $35,000 in repairs, that's what we consider major rehab. Or if it's under $30,000, but it needs maybe a new foundation or a new basement, anything dealing with the structure of the house is considered a full, or what they now call a standard 203K. So that's something for structural deficiencies, any additions to the house. That could be foreclosures or short sales or just a house that's in the perfect place, but you need it to be bigger. If it's over $35,000 repairs, then that's definitely the standard. If it's under, then those are things that are more maybe plumbing, electrical, things that do not enhance the structure, new carpeting, nothing major. Anything over $35,000, then you have to have what's called a 203K consultant. So somebody that goes into the house with your contractor and make sure that the bid that you have for all the repairs are complete will enhance the value of the property.
Okay, and that's for the programs where you're spending more than that $35,000.
Correct.
Okay. See, when I looked up some information myself, and one of the things that it came back to, I saw the $35,000 cap as one of the rules. I didn't realize that you could do more than that. Because one of the reasons that we like this program is that there's so many opportunities for properties out there that you may not, like a lot of people that buy, when they think of buying a house, they're thinking of the retail. I'm going to go out, find a house that is immediately ready for me to move right into. But there's so many opportunities for going out, finding a house, your dream house in the right location. Like you're saying, maybe it's almost perfect. And this is a program that can get you there. So as far as qualifying for this loan, like what are some of the benchmarks that you're looking for when someone comes to you?
So it's very standard to being able to get financed for a regular FHA loan. Some of the credit requirements are the same, meaning credit score wise. So anytime we're dealing with a renovation loan, we want you to be a little bit stronger credit. We want you to be like a 640 credit score or better. That doesn't mean we can't do it for someone with a 580. It just means that we would prefer it because it's easier for the borrower. And we do a lot of credit counseling to help them get their score up as well, if that's what they need to. But a 640 credit score, we want to see that they have, the only negative with this loan is that there are more fees. So the down payment requirement of 3.5% is the total 3.5% of your purchase price plus the repairs. So if you buy the house for $70,000, it needs $30,000 in repairs. Your down payment would be based on that $100,000. Now I'm very oversimplifying this because there's additional fees that are rolled into that. But to give you a rough idea, that would be you would need $3,500 plus closing costs. Your closing costs on a typical $100,000 loan, let's just assume it's anywhere between $3,500 and $4,000. That's closing costs and prepaids. On a renovation loan, you almost add an additional $1,500 to $2,000. So you need a little bit more money, or a little bit more seller contributions. We can do this particular loan on what they consider a stick-built house and a modular house, but not on a manufactured house. We can convert a 2-unit property to a 1-unit, but we cannot do this on like a 3 or 4-unit property.
You're talking about like if you have a property that, like we just purchased a house that is, it looks like a ranch style from the outside for the most part, except for the 2 entrances. So if I wanted to turn that house into just one single family house, there's money in 203K to do that?
Correct.
That's pretty cool. Or what are there any special like hoops to jump through, or is it the same process as a typical home, to get that loan?
The only hoops that you jump through is finding a contractor. That's the hardest part of this because we don't recommend any particular contractor. You can pick whoever you want. The work can't be done by yourself or anybody that you're related to. So the trouble is finding a contractor that will go out to the house in a timely manner, fill out all the paperwork because we have to vet them. We have to make sure that they're not taking your money. I mean, if this is a loan that's under $35,000, we give half the money up front. So on a $30,000 reno, we're giving them $15,000 at the closing table. So we have to make sure that person's not going to just take that money and leave. So we vet them through a bunch of paperwork, and the bid that they give us has to be pretty detailed. We're not looking for a bid that says new kitchen, $30,000. We want to see, and we've had it before, where they handwritten.
I know.
Company. We're definitely.
I've experienced that. Neither
we're
were
looking for exactly. We're looking for. We want on the contract the name of the contract. The name of the contractor, the address, the website address, their phone number, the date of the bid, the address of the project. Who it's for, when they think it's going to be completed, because all the work must occur and end within 4 months after loan closing, and all the it has to start within 30 days of loan closing.
Hmm.
So the bids we're looking for, like if you're putting in new flooring, we want to see, we're putting in oak hardwood flooring on the first floor, excluding the first bathroom at 1,200 square feet at $54 and whatever cents per square foot. And then, so we want to have it broken down. What is the material cost? And then what is the labor? And we're not looking at whether or not the labor is more than the material. It doesn't matter to us. You pick the contractor. What we're looking at is that there's a solid breakdown on what is the material cost versus the labor. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those things that I think if you don't do a lot of renovation and whatnot, people out there may not understand that is an important thing. That even if you're doing something where 203K is not involved, you want your contractors to give you more details, and sometimes it's a little hard to get from different folks. So I can appreciate that. How long is it to close? Like if I'm coming in as a applicant from contract to close, like how long would it take to get a 203K done?
So anytime I see a 203K, I tell people it won't be over 60 days. Now, if you come to me with the bid from day one, we can close that in 30 days or less. It's when we're waiting 2 weeks to get the bid from the contractor, then we order the appraisal. The appraisal takes 10 more days. The appraiser then wants more repairs done because the borrower thought, the house is perfect, but didn't add in the cost of a new plumbing or new furnace because it didn't have any. We now have the appraiser that has to look at it and make sure it meets FHA guidelines. FHA guidelines, how do you make it livable? So if the house is vacant, we need to make sure that the plumbing is good, the furnace is good, the electric is good. Those are your common denominators of what almost immediately we'll just add in the cost of a new furnace, plumbing, electric, and you don't have to deal with that. Especially if you're buying a HUD house, because you just have to assume everything that's not on doesn't work and needs replaced. The biggest time constraint on this loan is just getting the bid. Once we get the bid and the contractor vetted, it's a standard loan. That's 20 days. But if it takes you 2 to 3 weeks to get that bid, that's why I tell somebody 60 days. I had somebody come to me with the bid from a contractor that it all was very detailed, and we closed it in about the same as what a regular loan was. I think it was 25 days from start to finish and then closed a couple days later. So we were within 30 days. But the average is 60 days because people start trying to find a contractor. The contractor's busy. No contractors call you back. I highly recommend just calling the local HBA and saying, give me a list of contractors to work with, because usually if they pay their fees to be on the HBA, they can put together a solid bid, not all, but most, and then at least they return your phone call. And if they don't, you just call the HBA and ask for another name because they didn't return phone calls. And they're not affiliated with anybody.
For those who don't know, like myself, what does HBA stand for?
Home Builders Association. So that's the national.
Okay.
That is any larger city or area has an HBA, a Home Builders Association. So Mahoning County has one. Trumbull County, they use the same one. I don't know where, like in Michigan, any of them have an HBA. I believe the one in Mahoning County is called Home Builders Association of Mahoning Valley. It's myhbaworks.com, I believe, is their website.
Okay.
But yeah, so you just call the local Home Builders Association, and they will give you can even go on their website and usually click on members and see who's a member. But I suggest just calling the local office. They'll give you anybody's name and number because that's what those contractors look for. But I know I just went on the HBA website and I can pick anything from basement remodeling to kitchen remodeling, and it gives me the amount of people that are there. And then I recommend them just because if they paid that, They probably know how to put together a bid. They'll probably return your phone call,
Mhm.
and they'll probably get out there when they tell you it is. The hardest thing with contractors is sometimes you do find somebody that goes out there and they don't show up. Typically, a member of the HBA, they will show up, or you can just call and complain.
As far as the pre-qualification for getting a 203K, now is that something that you plan ahead for? Like if you're a person coming in that wants to purchase a house, not everybody's going to be thinking in terms of this right out of the gate. They'll probably be thinking traditional, like a conventional loan. Do you sit the folks down when you first talk to them and say, well, you guys also qualify for this if you should find something, or is it more like when they come to you and they say, I have a house that needs some work, or like how does that work as far as you bringing it up and getting it in the mix as far as getting someone started?
The conversation's mostly with their realtor. The borrowers, when I talk to a borrower about pre-approving, I talk to them about how much they can afford total. What is the max purchase price or maximum loan amount? And that would be hand in hand with the renovation loan. Maybe they can be approved for $5,000 lower because the interest rate's usually 0.5% to 1% higher than a regular loan. But then you're hoping that they're buying the renovation loan at a lot cheaper price because then the value's going to be there when all the work's completed. As far as how the conversation goes up with most first-time home buyers, my initial meeting with them, it goes about, well, what are you looking at doing? What's a comfortable monthly payment for you? How much do you bring in right now, hourly or salary, or are you self-employed? So we use a lot of fact-finding questions, and then we kind of gauge, well, if they can buy a house for $100,000 and they tell me a week later that nothing's on the market, that's a good time to bring it up. Well, you do know you qualify for a renovation loan. If you find a house that's even just ugly that needs repairs, we can help you with that. Or we go in the realtor, we speak to the realtor, they didn't find anything they like. Can they be, usually the call from the realtor is, can they be qualified for more money? And then the answer is, well, maybe look at foreclosures or look at houses that might just be on the market for a long time that are lower price. That's when it brings up. Unless they know the borrower's been doing research, they know that this loan's out there, or they might even make a comment like, man, I wish this house that I'm buying had a newer kitchen. Well, now's the time to think about it. That's when we bring it up in conversation. All of the types of advertising or marketing around it is mainly to the realtors or mainly to members of the builders because they get the call from the consumer. Because you can even do this for a refinance. It doesn't have to just be a purchase.
Is it the same caps for finance, the money that you get, the $35,000?
$35,000 or more. It just depends on what the value of the house is after all the repairs.
Okay, and then how much equity you have to start with? I imagine if you're doing a refinance. So how many of these do you guys at Top Flight do, like per month?
Well, as my branch, we typically do about 1 to 2 a month, depending on where we are in the season. So, like now, for example, we have one going that's almost ready to be closed. And we have 2 people that are looking at using this. They're in the process of getting bids. And it's not a huge number of current loans, but it does take someone who's done them to know how to put this through, because you'll hear horror stories of these taking 3 or 4 months to close. And that's just that the person that you went to has never done them before or hasn't done enough. Because there's a lot of trickiness to them. I mean, just if the bid comes over $35,000, do you know a FHA consultant? They're online, but how many are still open? Or how many will go to the house that you want? There's ins and outs that you learn, just like FHA allows you to have 3 contractors for repairs that are under $35,000. But then when you sit down and I show you all the paperwork that each contractor has to fill out, sometimes it's better just having one person fill it all out and have one contractor. So I try to make it as smooth as possible for the borrower, because this is the first time some of these people are buying a house, and buying it with a renovation loan. It's, they're buying a house that they're not going to be able to move into until all the repairs are completed.
Yeah, but I guess at the end of the day, you're getting the dream home that you want. And that, one of the other qualifications, you have to be moving into the house yourself, right? This can't be
correct.
like an investment.
It has to be owner occupied.
Okay. Are there any other restrictions like that?
Well, you wouldn't want to do this if you were planning on moving out within the first year, because it would just be a whole lot of work for nothing.
So but there's no, if you did want to move out, there's no restriction on moving out within a year, or I'm asking.
There's not,
okay.
If you were to sell it within the first 6 months, then your lender would get what was called a chargeback, meaning you would have to pay back any of the fees that were related to that to whoever you sold the loan to, and then that lender would not want to do another loan for you. They lost money, and it's a hard loan. But there is zero restrictions on the borrower. I personally will never tell someone that they can't sell the house after they lived in it. But FHA then can put you on a list saying that you did this loan with the intentions of flipping, which is considered, did you try to buy this house and get this loan with fraudulent means, meaning your intention was to flip the house. Your intention was to make profit. And even on HUD's website, if you were going to buy a HUD foreclosure, it states that if you are planning on selling this, then you are considered a investor, not a first-time home buyer. So I gave you a lot of explanation on this. The short answer is there's no restriction, but HUD can put you on a list where you can't buy another HUD foreclosure house, or that you can't get another 203K loan. So it would be in your best interest to think, well, why don't I live there for a year, make sure everything's up, and then sell it, if that was your intention. But most people are not using this as an investment tool. They're using this as, I'm going to buy this house, live in it for the next 5 years or 10 years or 30 years, and it's going to be the house that I want to move into.
Yeah, that sounds ideal. I wish I had known about this when I was looking for my last house. We end up paying retail, but like you're saying, this is a great opportunity if you're planning to stay at the place and live in it. It's a great opportunity to get a discounted property and make it into a really nice home for yourself.
The smaller houses. We've put in in-ground pools on a $240,000 house. We've done like new driveways. Like we put in not just your standard pool, like a pool with like waterfalls. We've made, so this isn't just for that $30,000 or $100,000 house. This could be for whatever the FHA guidelines are for maximum mortgages. And if it goes above that, we have a conventional product called a home style renovation, which allows you to go up to the maximum conventional loan limit, which is $480. I think it just went up to $478,000. I have to double check what the conventional limit is, but so that allows you to even go higher. So what a lot of people have in their mind is this is only for that $50,000 house or $100,000 house. But some of the before and after pictures that we have of people putting in these immaculate pools and another 4-car garage added onto this $380,000 house. As long as it adds value to the house, we can do it. So you have two loans. FHA is 3.5% down, and conventional you can go as little as 5% down, but you can avoid PMI by putting 20% down of the renovation and purchase price.
Now that is news. I didn't realize
it was
you could do that.
$484,350. By the way, sorry about that. Was the new?
What's the $484,350?
That's the new loan limit for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Oh, okay. Okay.
In Mahoney Valley.
Okay. Wasn't it higher before?
Well, you can still. There is some areas of town which you can. I mean, some areas where you can go as high as $726,000.
Okay, that was the figure I was looking for.
It just depends on where you're looking.
Okay, and the person that you're talking to, your financial person, is the one who can help you determine what you qualify for.
Your loan officer could, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One of my last questions for you, it's a little bit off the beaten path. I like to give at least one random as a closer. Just curious what you're going to say. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be? Disinvent, like there's an invention out there that you've noticed or seen or what have you. If you can take that invention away from the world, what's that thing that you would take away?
I mean, I'd probably say like Snapchat. Like I don't understand it. I don't know why we need it. Or yeah, I'd probably say Snapchat. That would probably be the one thing that I would disinvent. I guess Snapchat will say.
I appreciate you, spending a few minutes with me today and definitely educating me and all of the people who are going to listen to this afterwards about these loans. It's my goal to get you guys from doing 1 or 2 a month to at least doing, let's double that, get you guys doing 4 a month, because the more people that know about this and know that you guys have a product that's, beneficial, I think that does the world a better, it makes the world a better place when people can get into the home that they want at an affordable price.
I agree. Well, if you need anything, just let me know.
I really will. Thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.